Hello and welcome to the knockout stage predictions. So I had recorded this yesterday, however 7 minutes into recording realised I had not turned on my mic and then I started gaming with the homies. So we didn't get any chicken dinner, but let's see who's going to get the chicken dinner of this Euros 24. We have the brackets, just a little review of the group stages. France surprisingly came second and gets put on the upper bracket side and essentially makes it an interesting run for an easier run than you would expect for England to get to the finals. Alongside that, we had Austria topping the group that France was in, and I think they have really cemented their place as the dark horses of this tournament, really in form as well. On the England performance, I'm going to have a separate video perhaps discussing what Southgate needs to do. I'm going to echo a lot of the country's feelings that we're not playing good enough. However, I will say that his style of play is probably more suited to knockout stage play, and credit where it's due, our defence is pretty solid given the fact that that was our biggest worry coming into the tournament. So without further ado, I will give score predictions and predict who's coming through the knockout stages. So, starting with Spain versus Georgia. Now, Georgia have come in through playoffs. They've had a great run. They've sneaked in one of the third place positions. But I think, unfortunately, their fairy tale run is going to come to an end at the hands of a Spanish side that are in form, having won all of their games, I believe, and also perhaps not firing on all cylinders, but performing pretty well. I think they did score 2, surprisingly, against Portugal in the final group game, but I don't think Portugal were playing as seriously as they could. I'm going to give it a 3-0 Spanish win. Now, as the hosts, Germany obviously have been playing in good form. They have Nagelsmann, probably one of, if not the best coach in the tournament. And I'm just going to close the door because there's a lot of dripping sounds. I believe there's a leak somewhere which I need to fix later. Speaking of which, Germany haven't been leaking too many goals despite their play style. Now wasn't playing a very offensive counter-attacking style, and Denmark have been playing awful in this tournament. So I feel like Germany are going to win this. I'm going to give them a 2-0 win. We're going to do all of the upper brackets first, and then we'll move on to lower bracket, and then we'll predict the finals. Portugal, Slovenia. Now, Slovenia, we managed to eke out a draw with them. I'm going to say we managed to eke out because we clearly weren't playing to win. Slovenia, we know that they're going to play defensive. We know they basically want to defend and score 1 goal. They have a great goalkeeper in Oblak, but I don't think they have a good enough attacking threat to really worry Portugal. I don't see Slovenia scoring a goal. I see Portugal scoring several. This is the kind of game where you would see CR7 come into the tournament maybe and sort of, stamp his mark on it. He's yet to score or have an assist in this tournament. So I'm going to give it to Portugal. Oh no, correction. CR7 had an assist on his first game before the Ronaldo fanboys come after me. So I would give Portugal the win. I'm going to say it's a 3-0 win. Now, interestingly, this is the first upset. So I said yesterday that I feel like France are underperforming in this tournament, and I feel like they have a similar problem to England. They have a coach who's trying to cram too many stars into their squad, and they have Mbappe who's broken his nose and is wearing a mask, and I don't feel like they're the France of old. Belgium, to be fair, have also not been playing very well. However, Lukaku has been plagued with misfortune, having had 3 goals disallowed so far. I will say though, I will probably do my first upset here and say that Belgium are going to go through against France. I think they're going to eke out a 2-1 exciting game there. Now, Spain versus the hosts. Spain are in better form. Germany are the hosts and have the best coach in my opinion in the tournament, outside of potentially Ralf Rangnick at the bottom in the lower bracket. I'm going to say that this is going to be a high-scoring game and it's going to be a 3-2 win to Germany. I think we're going to see Wirtz, we're going to see Müller with some experience, we're going to see Cruz control the midfield. And I think the Spanish attacking threat, although they have good wingers, I don't feel like Morata is the striker you would want. Now, in a Portugal-Belgium game, I think this is where Lukaku's run is going to come to an end. Ruben Dias in the Portuguese defence. The great fullbacks are going to sort of lock down Belgium, and then they've got the midfield and attack lockdown as well. So we're going to have a Portugal-Germany semi-final, and I think the hosts, I'm going to back them to make it to the final. It's a fairy tale run after a terrible run in multiple tournaments and looking like they weren't going to be a risk. They've made the right choice in terms of coaching. They've got a side full of Leverkusen and informed players. Nagelsmann's been brave, unlike Southgate, and basically said, if you're not going to play my system, you're not coming into the squad. If you're going to raise drama, you're not coming into the squad. So I feel like because of that, Germany are going to have a win over... I didn't say the score, I think, for Portugal-Belgium. I think it's going to be a 2-1. I think Germany are going to win 3-1 against Portugal and make it to the finals. So now the lower bracket. Romania, surprisingly, topping their group in a group of the 4-point group, as I'm going to call them. Every team in that group came fourth, got 4 points, sorry. And unfortunately, Ukraine didn't make it through, despite having one of the better points of the third compared to all the third place teams, such as Slovenia. I will say that I feel like their run's going to come to an end here. Netherlands, despite not having the greatest attack, do have a very solid defense. I can't see Romania breaking them down. I feel like it's going to be a 2-0 win to Netherlands. Now, Turkey have been really underperforming in this tournament, and they're coming up against probably one of the best pound for pound, if not the best performing pound for pound team in the tournament. They've got a great coach in Ralf Rangnick, who didn't have a great time at Man United, but I think in international football, when you have the team, as long as you can impose your style on the team, and Ralf Rangnick has clearly imposed his style on Austria. They've got they've got veteran presences in Arnautovic. They've got a good defense as well. They've got Baumgartner, who's coming off a very successful season in the Bundesliga. I'm going to give it to Austria, and I'm going to give it to them 3-1 win to Austria. Now, let's do a little final match, and we'll come on and speak a little bit about England. So, Switzerland, Italy, you know what? I do actually feel like Switzerland are performing better in this tournament than Italy. I feel like Italy, they have their new coaches performing quite well. He has implemented a system. However, they haven't really eked out as many results as you'd have thought in this tournament. I think this is going to go to penalties, actually. And I think Italy threw on penalties. And then England. Now, we've come top of... So let's do the positives and negatives. We've come out top of our group. We have a pretty solid defense with one of, if not the lowest XG in the group, in all of the group stages. So somehow Southgate has taken our raggedy defense and implemented a system that has meant that we don't leak goals or opportunities. That's great. However, you have the best attackers in the world, bar none. We have the best Bundesliga attacker in Kane. We have the best La Liga attacker in Bellingham. We have the best Premier League attacker in Foden, and somehow we've scored 2 goals in all of our games, and we've not been able to play a style that's coherent. And I think that falls down to the manager, like everybody says. And I think he's a very defensive manager, and I think he's a little bit conservative. And I think I will say, if we make it through every match and we win 1-0 or on penalties, props. However, I think we have to face the reality that we are not utilizing our players to the best of their ability. And in the absence of utilizing our players to the best of their ability, I feel like we're just going to, at some point, come up against a better team, such as in the next round, and we're just going to essentially fall flat because we're not going to create enough chances, and we're trying to cram too many stars into the same squad. It's the same problem that we had in the gold generation, right? We tried to cram in Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Beckham, all into the same squad, and in the end we basically didn't achieve anything. And we're doing the same thing. We're trying to cram Foden, Bellingham, Rice, Kane, all into the same team. And the problem is they all want to be in the number 10 position. They want to be the central creative player, right? Kane is dropping back, like Gary Lineker has mentioned in his commentary. Kane is dropping back because essentially he's not getting any service, so he wants to connect the attack with the defense, right? And so he's coming into midfield to try and receive the ball and make sure there's some flow and some connection. Now, that's probably not what he's been instructed to do, that he feels out of the game. And the reason he feels out of the game is because he doesn't have any wingers that go beyond him so that he can play his normal role, so, you know, breaking the lines and keeping the defense occupied. And he also can't be an attacker because he's not getting any service. And the reason he's not getting any service is quite simple. On the right side, you have Saka, right? Saka can provide him service, but not when he's being marked and fouled by the whole team. Why is he being marked and fouled by the whole team? Well, simply because the left side of the squad is basically non-existent. Foden is drifting inside because he's a number 10 and he wants to play left-sided cam. He doesn't want to play left wing, he wants to play left-sided cam in a Pep Guardiola system. That's what made him the best. And you're not utilising him. So what do? You switch out Bellingham. He does the same thing. He wants to drift into the left. And he wants to be an attacking midfielder on the left. And then what you would want in that situation is perhaps a left wing back. And what have we done? We've got a right-sided, left-footed, like we've got a right-sided, right-footed right back playing left back who doesn't run beyond and doesn't have a left foot and doesn't pretend to have a left foot. Trippier has done his defensive work well, right? Credit where it's due, he's playing out of position and he's doing fine. We're relying on an injured Luke Shaw to come back and save us somehow. But he's been only doing individual training and he's not trained with a squad. So do you really think that we can trust this injured player in the knockout stages? I don't think so. Okay, so how do you solve this problem? Well, you have a couple of options. One, you go to a 3/5 back formation, you put 3 centre backs, and what you do is instead you go ahead and basically say we're going to have a attacker on the left side. We're going to put Saka there and play left wing back or left mid, or you put Gordon out there and just be like, hey, we're going to have 3 centre backs and we're going to have 2 right wingers, right? Have Carl Walker tuck in and be a right-sided centre back, and have 2 centre backs, and then have 2 wingers, right? And then that leaves you a bit more freedom to have some attacking threat. That's what I would do in the next stage. Anyways, regardless of all of that, I think a 1-0 win for England through to the next stage. I just got interrupted, which means I now have to render the video, which puts me in a terrible mood because I didn't have to render it. But anyways, going on. Netherlands versus Austria. I think the dark horses of the tournament, Austria, are going to outperform. They have a better attack, I think, and a better midfield than the Netherlands. They're performing better, although the Netherlands have a better defense. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Austria and Ralf Rangnick's side. Now, we come up against our first problem, and I think it's Scaletti or something is the Italian coach. Do we think the English side is going to overcome England's terrible form? I mean, overcome England isn't even that difficult. I think Italy are going to give us heartbreak again, and there's going to be a England out on penalties in the quarterfinals, leaving us an Austria-Italy semi-final. And I think, again, the dark horses are going to make it through, and I'm going to back Austria to make it to the final and basically win, I think, 2-1 against Italy, leaving us with a Germany-Austria final. And I think it's going to play as a great story with Germany winning in the final 2-0. Nagelsmann has revitalized the German side and national pride comes back to Germany. That's my prediction. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.